Dr. Lowe and fellow classmates. A little bit of an intriguing assignment this week to jump on video and talk about some of the great and nice things that we've done for people. But just in an effort to complete that and follow it out, a few of the things that I was able to engage in this week. The first one, it may be the most fun one and maybe most selfishly fun one, was we have a family in our church who is preparing to head to the mission field probably late this summer, and they're living in a place right now just in the way of cutting expenses. They've cut out all cable and TV and significantly downsized in preparation for leaving for the mission field. The son and the dad in that family are enormous Michigan basketball fans, and they weren't going to be able to watch the NCAA game that was on TV this past weekend. And so I just invited them over just to hang out and watch that. Their gratefulness was far greater than I even would have imagined, but wanted to just take that opportunity to give them a shot and just offer them that opportunity to do that. Second thing is, I had an opportunity Friday night to just engage in a relatively long conversation just by text message with a friend of mine who's loosely affiliated with our church. His name is Jeff, and my heart's just been heavy for Jeff over the last couple of months, and just took the chance to try and reach out and connect with him in a way that is often easiest to connect with him, which was by text. We ended up in a long conversation Friday night and are going to be connecting soon, and he's just hurting and struggling with a number of things in life. He too expressed a lot of gratefulness just for the fact that somebody reached out, somebody missed him, somebody wanted to stay engaged in his life, and so I was glad to be able to do that. I look forward to connecting with him in the future as well. We're working on setting up a time to meet face-to-face and be able to talk. I look forward to that. Kind of on the other end of the spectrum, also had a chance over the weekend I had a verse of Scripture on my mind that I just was praying for a mentor of mine, and Psalm 145, verse 14, and the second part of that talks about the fact that sometimes when life is bending us over and the load is bending us over, God reaches in and lifts us up in that. And just sent this to my mentor, mentioned to him I was praying for him with whatever he was going through at the time. He quickly emailed me back just with some appreciation and value in that, and appreciated the prayers. And it was great. I've received so much in my life from this guy, and it was great to have one of those moments where I was able to just offer encouragement and support back in his direction. A fourth thing that's a little bit unique for me that I was able to do was actually connect two people who could actually benefit from each other. A young couple that I'm getting ready to marry, and they're trying to do it as just with as much frugality as possible, which I appreciate. And they were looking for a DJ. I happen to know a DJ who's very affordable and is very good. And just the chance to connect those two together and to see just kind of the energy that came out of that connection and the gratefulness of it. I am not by nature a connector like that. My mind doesn't naturally work down those paths all the time. Ben Ward, who's in this class, is a phenomenal connector of people. And that's not my natural strength, but it was very fun to be just an encouragement to those two groups of people and connecting them a little bit along the way. Our church has been a part of a lot of times random acts of kindness, a little bit anonymous in how we do that oftentimes. I was able to engage in another one of those in the past week where I just, in a coffee shop that I'm in all the time, was able to give one of the baristas $5 and say, hey, the next person that walks in, buy them their coffee. Just consider it paid for. I don't want them to know who did it. I didn't get to see the response to that. I always kind of wish I could. Most of the time I won't stick around. I won't give them the chance to know who it was. So I don't really know what the response is, but hopefully that one was encouraging as well. And then maybe the last thing was I had a chance to bump into one of my neighbors who that morning was getting ready to head out to a funeral. It's a neighbor that is the most private of the neighbors right around our house, most reserved, very, very active in a Catholic church, but not fully sure where he is with God. And he was getting ready to head out of town for a funeral for his grandfather. It was great to just be able to offer a word of encouragement, to tell him I was praying for him. That's even that simplicity is a place our conversations have never gone before. And just to see his genuine appreciation, to see even him well up a little bit with tears just in that 2 or 3 minute conversation where he heard that somebody would be praying for him. It was great to get a chance to be a part of that conversation as well. The obstacles in this whole endeavor always seem to me to be just getting going, just doing it, just kind of getting the focus off of self and the task and the list of things to do, and just actually doing it. And once that happens, most of the other obstacles seem to go away. And probably the greatest insight I learned was just that reality of the idea of being a connector. That there are times where even if that's not in my dominant strength zone, I'm going to have those opportunities, and I need to be aware of those and need to be mindful of them. I mentioned in kind of each example the reactions from most people were very good and very encouraging. As much as I'm trying to encourage them and do good to them, their response is incredibly encouraging to me. Going forward, specifically in the realm of leadership and how this impacts me as a leader, probably the greatest thing is it just really fosters for me a spirit of gratefulness. It just reminds me of how much I really do have to be grateful for. My act of kindness to somebody else somehow triggers my thankfulness and my gratefulness. And so some concentrated seasons of just doing good to others and paying it forward. It's good for my own soul and the fostering for my own gratefulness. And so I look forward to your response, and anxious to watch your videos as well. And again, classmates and Dr. Will, good to be with you again. See you.